Welcome to An Open Book with Harry Pacheco, where our guests choose to be an open book, sharing real impactful stories that are making a difference. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Open Book with Harry Pacheco. We have a very special guest today, Francis Rosales.
Oh, very good.
Thank
Good
you for
job.
being here.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really honored to be here today.
So we are so blessed to have you, but we all want to know what your story is.
My story.
Yeah, your story, just how you were in your childhood, things of that nature, and then schooling, and then we could talk about what you do today.
Okay, awesome. Well, if we're starting from the way back in the very beginning, so my Genesis chapter when I was first born.
I like that. I like that.
I am not from the United States. I'm not from here. I'm actually from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a United States territory, but I was raised in an island that spoke primarily Spanish. So Spanish is my first language.
Nice.
And I went to school and started learning English a little, but not enough to say that I was fluent. I mean, we were just learning, basic stuff. The colors was red, yellow, blue, things like that. And then my parents moved us here to the United States when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
My father believed in American dream. I mean, that's what every immigrant comes to here is because of the American dream. We were doing very well in the island, actually, but he felt that there was more opportunity in the mainland, meaning the United States.
Okay.
So we came. And unfortunately, with that came some major hardships financially. I tell this people to many when they ask me about my story. I tell them that poverty was not learned when I was in the island. Poverty for me and my family was learned when I came to the United States.
Got it.
It was the first time we went through without necessities. And before we had abundance. And then when we were here, we learned how to go to bed without the electricity turned on or even plumbing, running water. So it was hard. It was a hard thing. And my mom, she believed in God and she didn't know what else to do, but she prayed all the time. So she prayed night and day for some miracle. And then that's when my dad got a job opportunity to go from Miami to Tennessee.
Wow.
And we were taken from there and went to Tennessee, where he got a job there. And then things started getting better for us. And that once we settled in Tennessee, and it was very different Tennessee then in the 80s, because it was 1985 when we moved.
Yeah.
I was the only Hispanic girl in the entire school. The only one that spoke a second language.
Yeah.
Not like what Tennessee today is in Nashville, where you've got every, I think, different type of ethnicity and different kind of language, and everyone looks different when you open the door, walk outside. I mean, it was very different. And so I had to learn to navigate in a different culture that I was not used to. Because even when I was in Miami, the culture wasn't a culture shock like it was when I was in Tennessee. Because when I was in Miami, there was plenty of other people that spoke Spanish and spoke different languages. So it was not any different for me than living in the island, except for dealing with the hardship, with the financial strain that was put on our family. But my mom was very much into education, and she was always growing up. She would tell my brother, my sister, and myself really was that when you go to college, you work on getting your MS, your master's, and marriage comes second. So it was ingrained in us to pursue higher education. It wasn't going to just stop at high school that we were going to pursue a 4-year degree, whatever that is. It was something that you could live off of so that you depended on no one. Even if you were married, you could still depend on yourself. And so I had no choice but to go to college because that was the expectations once you walked out of that school.
Right.
And I'm so glad I did. Because when I went to college, I graduated from UT Knoxville. That's my alma mater.
Wow.
So go Vols. I loved it. I mean, that was my favorite time of my life was in college and did so many great things. I was a Vol hostess.
Wow.
So I helped recruit football players,
Yeah.
and that were coming to tour the school to see if that they were going to make Tennessee their home, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about football, and I got to meet Peyton Manning. That was there. Leonard Little played while I was in school. I'm trying to think of other people that were during that time frame, but I was also the year that. We won the national championship in 1999, and T. Martin was the quarterback then. In fact, I was. I don't. I'm not. I hope I don't embarrass anyone, but I was friends with his girlfriend at the time. She lived down the hall from me, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a touch of fame there. And then when I left college and I graduated, I really didn't know what to do. I think that's what everyone kind of has to wrestle with. What do you do with the rest of your life? I mean, think about that. You're 18 years old and you have to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life. That's a huge test. I don't think anyone knows what they're going to do.
Initially, what were you going to school for?
Oh my goodness. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I changed my mind quite a few times. But I thought initially I was going to do something in the medical field. I just didn't know what after I graduated.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated from school, I was so tired of school that I took a break, and I've taken a long break because I haven't gone back after that. But I like business, and I enjoyed learning about how things worked in operation. And then I got into the field of marketing and really enjoyed marketing, using creativity and trying to get people to buy something. I really enjoyed that. And also was a numbers game. So it tapped into so many things that I had the skill sets, even though I had a science background. I had an analytical mind and a love for math. So it all kind of worked together, and I made a career with marketing for a long time. But education was just really important because my mom really drilled in us that for us to have be successful, you had to have a strong education. And so when I got married, my husband and we shared between each other 4 kids. I inherited 3 of his kids. They were still in school. I kind of passed that on to them and really made a mission of instilling in them the value of a good education, and got extremely involved in their schooling. At the principals knew my name, the teachers knew my name. I mean, I was the one emailing the school, the teachers, find out what's going on, the homework at the wee hours of the night if I had to. And so, I mean, that just became a focus of mine on top of my professional life. So that's a little bit about myself.
I love that. So now we're moving forward, right? To your career now. And so we got a little bit of that background story of what was to climb. When did you, or was it a group, or was it you and your husband, was it a decision that you made that you were like, hey, I'm going to run for vice chair for Rutherford County Schools?
Well, the decision wasn't primarily my husband's in the beginning. I chose to run because like I said in what I was telling my backstory, education was just really important to me. And I believe in education, and I wanted my children to have a good education. But it really didn't become a thing for me to really think about it until COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, at the time, and let me give a little more more context of what my life was like at that time. I had 3 kids. One, I started homeschooling. I took her out of public school in the middle of her 11th grade year and started homeschooling her. Then I got another one. My oldest was had graduated from school, but then I had my son who was in 8th grade, and then I had a baby. So when COVID hit and the school was thinking about what are we going to do as far as going back to school, and they made the choice of doing this hybrid thing, which was you got to pick, not hybrid, you got to pick between in person, going to the actual school, or staying home. Well, my son chose to stay home, and that was fine. Well, the very first day of school that year, and I don't fault the school system and the leaders at all. I know that there was a lot of learning. But I do feel that at the time they could have slowed down a little bit at some of the decisions. Because when I took on the role of staying home because of my job, I had no choice. But then my son had to stay home because he chose to stay home. Then I became his full-time teacher.
Nice.
In helping him with his work. Well, my son needs extra help because of his the way he learns. Everyone is learns differently, and some people need a little bit more, and some people don't need as much. But he needed a lot of guidance and a lot of support. But when it came to do the work from home, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I was having a challenging time in having to navigate, and I won't go into details about it, then I couldn't imagine other parents too, who were also going through the same thing when there were two parents that were working, who was going to help their child, because there was the support the support from the school at home was just very different than when you were in school.
Yeah.
And then I had a baby that I had to take care of on top of doing my job. So I was in parent mode like the whole day. I didn't take a break. So then the next semester, because of how that was structured, we made the difficult decision to say, you know what? As much as we want you to stay home, and it's probably safer for you to stay home, we're going to have to allow you to go to school, because he was getting that extra attention that he needed at school and not getting the support when he was at home. So it wasn't set up for success if you were staying home.
Yeah.
And so that really started making me think, well, who's making the decisions for our kids and parents as they're having to navigate this? And that's really what propelled me to want to look at the school board and see who's made up of the school board. And I know they were great people, and they were invested in the schools one way or the other. But looking at the makeup, there was only one person there that was a parent who had a child in the school system. The rest of them didn't have children in the school system. I'm not saying that they weren't a good school board member because of that, but I do believe it does make a difference when you have your own child there in the school system. And that's what really made me want to say, okay, maybe I should take a go at this and run for the school as on the school board. And I did, and that's why I ran.
Well, here's what I'm gathering. So there's a term where you have when you're invested in a company, and it's gonna make sense after I say it. So you're invested in a company, you would say your own money or whatever it is, you would kind of call that your baby, and kind of like nurture it as much as possible, because you kind of have a stake in it. And your terms, since you had kids that were in the school system, that was your stake to know what was going on in the schools. And that was your driven force.
Right. Yes. Then now it's more of an investment for me because I'm actually in the classroom.
Yes.
So not only do I have children that are attending the school system,
Mhm.
which I'm really proud of, we have a great school system, Rutherford County Schools,
Mhm.
but I'm also get the chance to be in the classroom as a even though I'm a substitute teacher, I'm just temporary, but at least I get to get a peek into a life of what the school is like on a day-to-day, from the time it starts to the end of the day, and see the struggles that the teachers go through
Mhm.
day in, day out, because they go through struggles in what they're having to do and what they're required. So my stake in this and the
Mhm.
investment pie has grown a lot more
Mhm.
than when I started out just saying, "Oh, I have kids in the system."
Yeah.
Now is, "Oh, I'm actually
You're a
going
part
a
of it. Yeah.
part of the system." Yeah.
Yeah. You said
Mhm.
you have a younger.
Mhm.
She's still in the school, right?
Yeah, so my youngest son that I was talking about
Yeah.
graduated 2 years ago.
Nice.
And then now my daughter
Yeah.
started kindergarten the year after he graduated. So my husband and I, we get to do this all over
Yeah.
again.
So I
We
mean,
just
you
started.
still do. You still have a stake in the game.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah. So how is it done for you? Like you as Francis, your career, how has there's been challenges I'm gathering, right? From being the vice chairman.
Mhm.
I seen a lot of videos of you, and you really handle yourself really well.
Oh, thank
And
you
you're
very
very
much.
passionate on what you believe in.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think our school system is now since you've been the vice chair?
What is it like now since I've been since I started?
Like the changes that you implemented and
Yeah.
some of the things that you're passionate about.
Oh, I love this question because I'm really proud of some of the changes that we've made. I know we had talked about the whole issue about the land, and it's no secret we're growing and we're continue
Yeah.
to grow. And so we're busting out the seams. And another reason why I ran is because the area that I live in, my neighborhood, was been put on, I call it the chopping block, and getting rezoned because of the overcrowded in our schools, because our county grows. I mean, we receive about between 1,000 and 1,200 new kids every year for the
Wow.
past 14 years.
Wow.
So that in itself is a new school. It's like we're having to build a new school every year.
Yeah.
And so when I got on the seat, the very first thing I did was that I pushed for us to buy the Beatty property that is now the new school where Poplar Hill Elementary, and then soon to be the new school of Poplar Middle School. So that those having those two schools is giving some relief to some of the overcrowding, because people don't realize that for a child to get a good education is just not the academics. They have to have space for them to have that support. And the support is that some kids need extra support. And if there's not room for them to go to get those extra support, then we're not setting them up for success. So part of the education is having that space for the child, to have that area to get the resources they need. So
Absolutely.
I advocated from day one for us to buy land so that we can build school. And I was very adamant about us doing our due diligence, because prior to that, before I was even on the board, the previous board actually purchased the land without doing their due diligence. They will say they did their due diligence, but they didn't do their due diligence, because when they purchased this land, it was supposed to be able to give 3 schools. Well, because it wasn't reviewed or even really do the testing and see if they can actually fit 3 schools. Well, there's a big chunk of area that is on what's considered wetlands.
Oh yeah.
And so then now with that property, if we want to build a 3rd school, we will have to buy additional land at this credited for so many dollars per acre, just to be able to put 3 schools. And if someone had done their due diligence or had been a board member, make sure that we did that due diligence, then they will have known that that piece of property that they were buying in they could have negotiated something out of it so that they can get what the best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
And so I really challenge our board to do their due diligence to say, yes, we're buying this property at a certain price, but we got to think about the investment. Is it a good investment? And so, it turned out to be a good piece of property that we haven't had to pay more money because of finding issues. We were able to prevent those issues. And so I was really, really adamant about that.
I'm very dumbfounded right now because out of being an author, I'm a superintendent too.
Okay.
For construction.
Okay.
So for them not to do the grading, are you saying that they didn't know? When you say due diligence, they didn't do the proper inspections and things of that nature on the grading of
everything,
of the foundation and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made sure to have all the like before we even decided to go into contract, to understand what were all of the necessary tests that were needed during the inspection period. So when there was a time to give the report of recommendation for the test based upon the results, whether to buy or not to buy, that we had covered everything.
Absolutely.
Everything. Including the test that was overlooked, which was the wetland. So now when we're going to buy, when we're looking at buy, and in fact, we're entertaining a contract right now. Well, we just got done entertaining a contract that we're actually going to go before the county commissioners to ask for money to buy this piece of property. There's a whole list of inspections. You're looking at topography. You're looking at road construction. You're looking at traffic analysis. You're looking at the wetlands. I mean, the sewer, the infrastructure, everything. I mean, you're looking at the whole thing, not just like a small section of the pie. You're looking at the whole entire thing. So that when it comes before the board and they're going to give a recommendation whether to buy or not to buy, is based upon the results of the test. So we list them out. There are about 8 tests that we do.
No, absolutely. And I like to say this, it's worth the money. It's worth the wait to get all the tests verified, because it really messes up everything when it comes down to building the building. If you get, I don't know, 3 of the tests wrong, and it just gets harder. So I suggest everybody get that verified before they start, plotting for land.
Right. And it's also taxpayer dollars too. So you have to be mindful of that and be fiscally responsible.
No, absolutely.
Because we do need land. We do need to build schools.
Yeah.
Our kids are overcrowded. Our middle schools in Middle Tennessee, we have the top 2 most, the 2 top biggest schools are in here in Rutherford County. That's Blackman Middle and Rockville Middle. And with lots of kids comes the problems get created. Safety becomes a concern.
Absolutely.
Where we need more SROs.
Yeah.
And so it's easier to manage when you have a smaller schools, but when you have a big schools, everything gets magnified even more. And so those are safety concerns too there. But yeah, and that's something that we've been able to tackle as I've been on the board, is getting back into building schools, but being fiscally responsible and making sure that when you're going to say, yes, we're going to approve this piece of land, that we've done our homework.
Yeah. So you mentioned before you voted for this new land and the overcrowding of schools, what was the ratio of students teacher?
Oh, I don't have the ratio of teachers, but I can tell you this. I can tell you that at the time when we're looking at buying that Beatty property, you had Blackman High School, you had Laverne High School, you had Riverdale High School, and Stewart's Creek High School. They're way over capacity. Some of these schools, their capacity were about in the 2,000-ish.
Yeah.
And they were over that.
Yeah.
So they already hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
And yes. And again, a lot of the growth is happening over on the 24 side with Smyrna, Laverne, Blackman.
Yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
A lot of, I mean, growth is happening everywhere in the county,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of emphasis that's happening on that
Yeah.
side, and so it's pushing a lot of those people in these schools that are shown there, and so we're just hitting capacity, and
So you're
so that's
doing
what we do.
amazing things right now.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's just one thing.
Is there more? Do you have
Well, I'm
in the
really,
works?
yes. So there's more in the works, but something I'm really, really proud of, since we're talking about safety. I don't know. I know we live in a day and age. It's so sad to know that the board had to approve putting metal detectors on all of our schools just to keep people safe. But one thing that a couple of things that I'm proud of within the safety realm is that I really championed a bill that was carried by Rutherford County delegation, Representative Robert Stevens and Senator Don White. They carried this bill on my behalf, and that was to require safety training on active shooter training on everyone, including substitute teachers.
Wow.
Yes, prior to this, there was not a requirement for substitute teachers to get training on everything, including active shooter training.
Yeah.
But now there's an emphasis that it has to happen. Um, and it's sad that some tragedy happened where a substitute teacher died as a result
Yeah.
of an active shooter training.
Mhm.
The Covenant is shooting that happened in Nashville
Yeah.
in 23.
Mhm.
The teacher that died as a result of that, it's a tragic accident, was a substitute teacher.
Can I
So-
say something?
Mhm.
I believe that I could tell by you in your past that you're very successful at your advertising career.
Mhm.
You're just not very boastful about it. You're very humble about it. But I think that you probably worked a corporate job
Mhm.
and doing the things that everybody loves and wants, and the travel, things of that nature.
I did. That's
the
true.
career of the success of that, it was probably reached the ceiling at some point in your life. But I feel like that was back then, and that was something that was like your passion back then. Now it moves to something that you're real. You could tell that you're very passionate about this. It's because of your kids, and because you still have your youngest is in kindergarten,
Mhm.
and
No, first grade now.
first grade now,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna do it all over again. But besides the point, besides having the kids, you're passionate about the people.
Mhm.
And I feel like you're doing it for the people.
Mhm.
I think you're doing tremendous things. Is there something that, and we talked about growth,
Mhm.
is there something that we could look forward to in 2025, the end of 2025, and then look forward to something in 2026 that you could think of?
Well, one thing that since it's about education, well, the reason why for me it means so much is because I'm with the kids and I see who the kids are. And there's some kids, quite frankly, do not have a voice. They do not have someone that's there. My kids had me. I was their advocate. Some kids don't have that. They don't have someone that's advocating. And so it's up to the adults in these roles that have to do the advocating for them.
Right.
And so that's what really makes me do this so much, is for those kids. Some kids don't even know if they're going to go home and have a hot meal waiting for them or a place for them to sleep at. It's really touching if you start being in the schools and being in front of some of these kids. It really touches you. It really tugs your heart.
Yeah.
It really does. But anyway, so to your question, what we're going to do 2025, one thing that I would love for the board to get involved in, even from a legislation standpoint of view, is how do we help the schools with behavior? Behavior is something that everyone can attest to, that something happened after COVID where the behaviors have changed. And so I feel that there should be there should be something done where it's or just spotlighted where we can help the schools have tools in in their tool shed per se where they can use so that they can help with the behavior.
Absolutely.
I ran for one of the reasons why I ran. I also talked about having parents be involved, and parents need to be involved, absolutely. But I feel like we've done that. We've done a lot to get parents involved, but there's also when it comes to the behavior side of it, parents should also be held accountable too. Just like we're wanting to hold our teachers accountable, parents should be held accountable as well. I know kids that they come to school and they get in trouble for whatever reason, and the parent and the schools try to contact the parents and say, "Hey, little Johnny is not behaving. He's not minding. It's just becoming disruption." And the parents, I've had teachers say to me that parents have even told them that when they are in school, they're responsible for their child in the school. But then it becomes like it's almost as if the schools they're being used as a babysitting center. And with everything that's going on with our teachers having to be held to these standards, it's really challenging for them to keep the classroom manageable when the child doesn't want to be managed. But if the parents can help them, that will be I mean, that's part of the equation. A part of a student's child's success is a parent being involved in that regard as well. I don't know about you, but when I was going to school, if I got in trouble at school and the principal, the teacher called my mom, I didn't want to go home because I was going to get in trouble.
Yeah. No. And I knew what time that call was going to be.
Exactly.
I knew what that time was going to be. And I just never wanted to disappoint my parents.
I didn't either. And well, then now kids these days, I mean, I've seen it. I've lived it.
Yeah.
There's just a lack of disrespect.
Yes.
We need to bring back that respect.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I don't want to point fingers here and there, but we need to get back to where the adults are being respected and that when a child gets reprimanded at school, that the parent also says, you know what, little Johnny, that's your parent. Yes, your mom and dad at school. You need to treat them like your mom and dad at school.
1000%. So I had the discussion before. I believe I had it with my wife. She talked about if they're not respectable to us, who do you think they're not going to be respectable to?
Right, to themselves.
It starts at home. And I know that there's things that happen, and I can't speak for every family that's out there, but I could say that it is controlled. It's 1000%. It starts at home.
Yeah. And and I also would love for the community to get involved.
No, absolutely.
We have 52 schools, and it'd be great if nonprofits and churches will be involved to know what are the needs are in the school.
Right.
I mean, something
like a camp or.
Well, not only camp, like, if it's a school that it's in a socioeconomic, it's higher in that regard.
Yeah.
And the kids are they're needing, backpack, school supplies, whatever. If a community gets involved and they can provide that.
That'd be awesome.
Right. Or if a child's in need, if they're having a field trip and child can go because their parents don't have the funds for it. If a community can raise the funds and help provide that through scholarships, I mean, it's endless of opportunities. If the community can rally and come together and serve all of our schools, can you imagine how amazing of a strong community we can be and help our children? That's what I'm working on right now.
That's where I see the passion from. And when you talk about having that voice, I think that voice is what you just touched on a little bit about having the schools that are not very fortunate in having like school supplies, things of that nature. And your passion is that, well, why don't we do a Robin Hood situation and give it to them, that the people that have like abundance of it, right? Or things of that nature. I feel like that's a beautiful thing. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Our background. I was born in Guam.
Oh,
It's
okay.
also a U.S. territory as
Mm-hmm.
well, but I am Filipino,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And my mom and her dad, I mean, the first generation here,
Mm-hmm.
and then growing up here. Um, your parents must be very proud of you of being a vice chairman of Tennessee, of being Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest, the numbers are not like you won the people's vote,
Mm-hmm.
who primarily really don't know your culture that well.
Mm-hmm.
So you really won their hearts.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How did your family feel about that?
Oh, my mom is really, really proud of me. I mean, she's really, really proud. And my family back home in Puerto Rico is really proud of me too. Because when the night that I won, they were sending me messages and
Yeah.
saying how proud I was about it. My father, unfortunately, he's not here. He's not alive. So he's watching from heaven.
Yeah.
So I know he's very, very proud of me. He's always been my biggest supporter,
Yeah.
and my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're very, very proud of me. And I never dreamt that I was going to do this or be in a I can't like run for public office. I never
Yeah.
set out to do this. Even when I graduated from UTK, it was not a dream to say, I'm going to venture into politics and get into
Right?
and run for school board of all things,
Yeah.
and then do this. And yeah, that was never, not even a thought that
Uh-huh.
even happened until, like I said, when I was put in the role of mother and helping my kids, and that's put that. But I like there's like you said, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, but the good stuff outweighs the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
Just being able to make, regardless of what happened, I'm however long I'm in the seat, I want to look back and think about the accomplishments I was able to make.
Yeah.
And I can put my head on the pillow every night knowing that I did some great and amazing things and accomplishments that I never thought I could imagine. I mean, I never thought I will be a part of the process of passing a bill. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that was never
That's huge.
on the horizon. I mean, I could go in the world's Guinness Book of Record of something that I've done that was different.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of those things, and I will continue to do that
Mm-hmm.
as long as I'm on the seat.
Could I ask you a question? Like
Mhm.
it's another question that I've been always wanting to ask you. Um, you being Puerto Rican,
Mhm.
and do you get a lot of fan letters or things of that nature to be like, man, you're doing something for us because for our culture and helping us, kind of putting us in the forefront of being part of the school board and things of that
Yes.
nature.
I have. I actually got some sweet, sweet messages. I had one lady called me because she saw an article that I wrote on the newspaper, and she said, I have to call her. I have to call her. And so she left me a voicemail, and then I called her back, and she goes, I've never wanted to call a politician, but you're the first politician that I've ever called. But what you said in your article really resonated with me, because that's exactly what I've had to deal with. And it just feels really good knowing that someone has shared the same struggles I've shared,
Mm-hmm.
and had to deal with overcome biases and culture and all that. It's very, it's a world that you have to navigate. And so it feels good knowing that there's people that have struggled like you
Mm-hmm.
have struggled, and they are paying attention, and they can see someone that is making it on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And so that feels good on the inside, getting those kind of messages. And also going to school as well. It's
Yeah.
just, I'm able to speak to kids that look different and say,
Mhm.
you know what, the sky's the limit and you can do it. The
Right.
American dream is here for you as well.
But you
And
are
so,
a great advocate, a great mentor, a great someone to look up to that's in the Latina, like
mm-hmm,
the who is Latina,
mm-hmm,
for somebody that's growing here that is of a different race,
mm-hmm.
right? To say, hey, I could be on the school board as
That's
well
right. Yeah.
and have that strive,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I could be able to do those things, and you made
Absolutely.
it possible
Mm-hmm.
by you being on the media, you
Mm-hmm.
being on newspapers, magazines,
Mm-hmm.
the radio,
Mm-hmm.
right? YouTube, whatever it is that you're giving young
Mm-hmm.
people hope of
Yes.
color.
Yes. Well, growing up, like I said, I was in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was not a lot of ethnicity. I mean, there was
Mm-hmm.
ethnicity. I mean, there was, but the variety and the differences
Mm-hmm.
is not the same. So internally, because I didn't see people that look like me or different, I always, my impression was that certain things were not meant for me. It wasn't like people told me I couldn't do it, but it was because I didn't see someone that looked like me in those roles. So it makes a big difference, and it matters when that
Mm-hmm.
people that look like you are in those roles, because you can say, "Oh my goodness, I
Yes.
can astride to that. I can make
Yes.
it." And so I've always pushed myself and challenged myself
Mm-hmm.
to be in places where people don't always look like me,
Mm-hmm.
because I want people to know that you can go there. You can be a part of that if you're willing to be the first.
Right.
And being the first, like someone told me, um, being the first is always the hardest because you're the first one. You're
Yeah.
having to deal with a lot of backlash, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
But once you break that, then you make it easier for the next person to come behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. I mean, it's so true. And I've been the first in so many different things,
Yeah.
not just excuse me. Sorry, not just here, but we're living in a time that um speaking about it is like people don't want you to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I disagree. You
Yeah.
have to talk about it. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that excuse me. It doesn't mean that um you're not I don't even know how to explain it, but you have to talk about that.
Yeah. It's I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
You're basically saying that what you persevered in your life
Mhm.
developed great character.
Exactly.
And so how are you going to know if you don't know my struggles, how are you going to know how I got here and how
Right.
you're going to look at me like the way you look at me, you know? Um
Sorry,
don't
coughing.
no worries. That's fine. Um was it hard as far as now farming and things of that nature when you were running for vice chair?
Excuse me, I'm coughing all of a sudden. Yes, please. Oh my gosh.
So we talked about a lot about just how you got into the vice chair.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that to get there has to be hard work,
Mm-hmm.
has to be some type of struggle. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was a first time candidate, so I didn't know much about this. So I studied everything that there is about how to be a candidate. And my husband and I, he's my biggest supporter. And we hit the pavement. And him and I together, we knocked on 3,000 doors in the hot sun in the summer. We were there from sun up to sundown. It was like a job.
Wow.
Yeah. We were knocking because no one knew who I was. They didn't know I was fairly new to the community, to Rutherford County, even though I lived in Tennessee for almost 40 years now. Um,
And you have to have heartfelt connections with
exactly.
every
With
person you know.
every person that you
Yeah.
talk to.
Because
And
they'll know if it wasn't heartfelt or if it wasn't sincere.
exactly. And why I wanted to run because there was issue because I was passionate, like you said, about certain things that I want to make a difference in. That education is something really important to me. And so I took it like I was applying for a job. I mean, I wore the best suit I could find.
Yeah.
Very polished.
Yeah.
And with my marketing background,
yeah,
I
you just
used
knew.
it
You knew.
to my advantage.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, there's a lot of things that you can do that money buys, but there's also things that you can do that don't cost money.
Yeah.
So I made myself available to podcast. I wrote articles. I was on the radio, went to events, and yeah, and I did everything and did
Branding.
I didn't yeah, I did I branded myself. I even put a community event together through our nonprofit Breakthrough Tennessee. So for those 3 months from May till August, my life was on hold. It was like I had a second job. I had a full-time job that I worked at the time, but then after a certain time I stopped and it was campaign mode.
Yeah.
And to be able to knock on 3,000 doors, it meant that I was up hitting the pavement every day.
I know how it is. When I did meet and greets for my first book, I had to talk to like, I don't know about 3,000, but I had to talk to like at least 1,500 people while signing books. And you want to give them a piece of you that is genuine. Right? There's got to be this authenticity about your conversation. And the people know that, right? And it's always different. But after that 1,500 signing and you're talking to, there's a point where you're kind of drained of it because there's so many, not because of you're tired, but emotionally because you're giving them that connection. I can't imagine the 3,000 people.
It was insane.
And this is within the time
3 months.
3 months. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 1 weekend alone, we did a ton of doors. My favorite time was we were in Smyrna door knocking, and it was about 7:30 at night because we normally stopped after the sun went down, and it's the summer months, so it'll go down like around 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we pulled to this house, and it was about to rain actually.
Yeah.
And there was this lady and her daughter that were sitting on the front porch, and they were eating Southern food. They had it was a plate full of food that you can see from out in out on the street. And my husband, if you knew my husband, he meets no stranger to him is not a friend. Rolled down his window and he's like, "Hey, can I have some of that?" And the lady's like, "Well, yeah, come on in. You can have some." And I was like, "Okay, so I guess we're gonna go eat food now." Yeah. So we got out of the car. And we went inside, and this lady had a spread of Southern food. I mean, we're talking about some soul food. I mean, collard greens, meatloaf, chitlins. I mean, everything that you can think of about soul food. If you're having church and coming home to your grandma to have soul food, that's what we had. And oh my goodness, we stayed there for at least 2 hours, just talking to her. And her daughter came from Alabama, and then some other family, and they was just there to celebrate some kind of celebration with her husband. And they just welcomed us in, and they didn't care whether I was Republican, Democrat, Independent. They just
it was the food. It was that brought you together. We talked about
politics. I mean, it was the best. We had the best time. That is one of my favorite memories. And my husband and I, we talked about it. We talk about it all the time. Just meeting the sweetest people. And just hearing their hearts, and then getting, like you said, getting the connection, really made a difference. And I will do it all over again. And I mean, there was things that happened where people are not always the nicest. I mean, I had the door slammed on me.
Really?
Multiple times. Yeah. I mean, campaign is not for the faint of heart. No. And then, and since I've won, I've had not the kindest emails or the sweetest things been said about me. I mean, there's memes about me that been made, not putting me in the best light. But like I said, all of that put it aside means nothing to me when I look at the things that I've been able to accomplish.
Mhm.
That makes me going. Like that keeps me going. Just knowing who, my why, and the
Bad.
exactly, exactly. And yeah, there are people that will say nasty things to you and will use your color and your ethnicity, and they do. But that's been happening all my life,
Mhm.
so it's nothing new. It's just
Mhm.
in a different scale. But like I've always done, I ignore it and just move on. And I just worry about me and what my accomplishments are. And I just have strong faith in the Lord and believe in God that God will open the doors and close the doors and he will make a way. And he's always has. So I give
Mhm.
my credit really and all the glory. And if you don't mind me saying that, I just give it all to God.
You don't let them win.
Exactly. No one, and we should not let anyone win.
Mhm.
And I love your book about bullying
Yeah.
because when I was in high school, oh no, middle school, I was bullied. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a recipient of bullying, and I know what that is like.
Yeah.
Being different, and you were named, you were the whole, the feeling of knowing that you were not called by your first name, you were called by another name because they were making fun of the way that you look.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard on someone when you're in seventh grade and you're 13 years old. It's hard for you as a child to take all of that
Yeah.
and how to navigate that and how to deal with that. And so I'm so glad that now we've learned a lot, that we try to teach our kids about what is bullying so
Yeah.
that another kid don't go through that. But going through that, I didn't have someone that was advocating for me and saying that's not nice. We should need to treat people kind.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that you
Yeah.
wrote a book about
Yeah.
bullying.
And you know what? I just got this right now.
Mm-hmm.
It just touched on what you talked about, being a voice to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That in some ways they are getting bullied because they are getting bullied to not have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the advocate for the place that you're in now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I want, I probably want, if you, I would love for you to be on the chair for many, many years.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're doing great things for Rutherford County schools. Um, it's good to see someone like you that's very passionate for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
to get them what they need as education, as far as things they might need with school supplies, and want to be advocate of them not having a voice. I think it's tremendous what you're doing.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank
So
you.
I want, this is going to be towards the end of our podcast, and what we do here is we want to give you a platform to say the 4 things that you're grateful for. Um,
Well,
it doesn't have to be in order. You could
mm-hmm.
s-
Well, I'm grateful for my family and my husband who supports me. I'm grateful for good health because I'm in the age where things can start to change.
yeah,
So I'm grateful for that. And I'm just grateful just to be alive.
yeah,
Alive to be able to do something good, something positive.
yeah,
In the platform that I'm given, that I can do good things. And I'm grateful for people, having
yeah,
people around that support me and that care about me and love me.
yeah. That is awesome. And then also, this is the last thing we ask: is there some organization or some person that you want to lift up right now, so we all could look them up, check them out, or support what they're doing?
Absolutely. So my family and I, we started a nonprofit called Breakthrough Tennessee.
Wow.
Yes, and we've been existing since
Wait,
2010.
say that again.
Breakthrough
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yes. And it started back in 2010. At that time I was single, and my parents were pastors at a church.
Nice.
Where they served the Hispanic population.
You're PK?
No, at PK after adults. I don't know if that means they were pastors when I was growing up. They became pastors after I left the nest later in their life. And so I was into couponing, and so I took it upon myself to say, how much, if I were to use coupons, how much school supplies can I buy to help the kids and with our families, because they were struggling. And so the first year I did it, I was able to have enough for 30 kids. And so then it just started growing. And then it turned into this thing called Breakthrough Tennessee, where now we have back to school drives every year. We had one this year in Knox, one in Shelby County for the first year, another one here in Rutherford County. It's our 4th year in Rutherford County, and it's been 10 years in more 15 years in Davidson County, where we give away backpacks and school supplies.
Where in Rutherford County this year? Where you guys at?
Blackman High School. We do it in Blackman High School.
Okay.
And then and we've done toy drives. We've done seminars for small businesses. We used to do, our biggest thing that we used to do was the food banks. We used to give boxes of food for many, many families. I think one year we gave away like 3 tons of food. That's a lot of food. But yeah, so that's something that my family and I were really passionate about, is giving back to the community and helping the community.
That is awesome. Can you say that one more time?
It's Breakthrough Tennessee.
How can people help or volunteer or donate?
So you can go through our website, BreakThru TennesseeTN.com.
Okay.
You can sign up to volunteer, or you can donate, or you can just sign up for our newsletter so that you can be in the know of what's going on.
Very cool. That is what's happening, and you shine the light on something tremendous.
Thank you so very much.
And spreading the positive, right?
That's right. Spreading the positive. Big believer in that.
Well, I just want to thank you for your time. I know that you are a busy woman, taking care of so many people's needs. So I'm really grateful that you made it out here and gave us a backstory of who you are. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
So we're closing out, and this is Open Book with Harry Pacheco. Thank you for listening to another episode of Open Book with Harry Pacheco. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you on the next one.